Okay, so now I'm on the highway headed north. I'm on the highway headed north. This isn't over, and it doesn't end. These people are trying to convince me now. Oh, the guy. So they're telling me about this guy. They're telling me about this guy, giving me the rundown about him. And they actually said a lot of stuff. In these videos, I'm going to be revealing a whole lot of details, but I'm also going to be revealing a whole lot of scenarios, like just not even scenarios, a whole lot of truth regarding my experience. Like, this is what I've gone through, but everything that they say is not true. I want to make that clear. So, but I'm just trying to give you a real feel of what the experience was like, because these people go way beyond pushing the envelope. So I'm just trying to give you a very real idea, not even a very real idea of what I'm trying to paint, a very real picture of what this experience was like. Just keep in mind, don't take everything that I'm saying that they said as truth. Just note that. Okay, so they're giving me the rundown about this guy. But I also hope that you're able to identify what is true, because so much of what I'll help you through it. This is so much to cover already. Anyhow, they're giving me the rundown about this guy. They're telling me that this life is not for me, and that a relative of mine wants my plans. That a relative of mine wants my life plans. So these people know already that I've planned my entire life out. These people know already that I was going to be applying in days at all the news, not the news stations, but all the television stations. They knew all of this. They knew where I was going to be applying. Everything. They knew everything. They just didn't have it on paper yet, because I had it all on paper. But anyhow, so they told me that someone wanted my plans. A relative of mine wanted my plans. Then they told me that this life was not for me. That there's a man that's meant to have me in his next life. Like, I'm supposed to be this man's wife in his next life. Now, back then, I'm just taking this all in, just making mental notes of it, and later on jotting down what I could of it. Not knowing that some of this stuff was going to come to be, not come to be, but going to play out in a way like that these people were going to actually be acting on it and moving towards it. So, one more attempt at this whole new body thing too. They were also talking about, yeah, you're not going to look anything like you look now. Your body's not going to be anything like it looks now. Pretty much meaning that they were going to just completely mess my body up so bad that, let me rewind. The way that they were trying to note it then, they were trying to note it in a positive light so that I would be okay with it and want to kill myself. Because I didn't comply, I know now that they meant it in a negative light. So back then they were saying, your body's not going to be anything like it was. It's going to be so much better. You know, you're not going to look anything like you do now. And meanwhile, I'm like, well, I love everything about me. I don't want, you know, like, that's not an option. So they're steady talking about, no, this guy is really particular, all types of trash. So then, oh, I'm sorry, I thought my face mask might have got on there. So then, let me tell you now about later. So I later came to find out that what they meant by that is that this guy was going to try to alter my body in such a way that I would be a vegetable. That he was going to try and alter my body in such a way that I become a vegetable. Now they're blaming this on this relative of mine. This is how they try to frame people. I never did finish the stuff with everything that took place with that vehicle, like with my friend's vehicle when I was in Oceanside. That was a way of framing him. They thought I was going to blame him for that. Now, back to this relative of mine. This is what they were going to try to frame him for, because you got to think these people, I'm going to show you how strategic they are with planning something like this out. We're going to go back almost 2.5 years. Not in this video here, but as I slowly cover the rest of these details, it's going to all come together. So, I'm riding up the road. They're disclosing this information about the guy. Excuse me. And they're like, well, if you want this to end, if you want it to be over, just, well, throw up that water. No, throw up. Like, just throw up. I'm like, I can't just throw up. They're like, well, put some of that water in your mouth and act like you're throwing up. So I spit some water out my mouth. The next thing they said was run into a car. I'm on the expressway. They tell these people to run into cars while they're on the expressway. And some people actually do it. They actually wreck into a vehicle. Now keep in mind, this is all after they've like blew whatever it was through these vents. I've went to the police station. They're still following and taunting me and doing all types of other stuff. On top of that, now you want me to run into a vehicle while I'm on the expressway. It's not going to happen. So I end up pulling over. I end up getting off and pulling over somewhere. I was actually calling Raul to come and meet me because I didn't think that I should be driving anymore. Because if these people were asking me to run into a vehicle, surely they'll run into me. So I pull over, and now they're trying to get me to recite a ritual, but they're doing it in my relative's voice. They're trying to have me recite a ritual, a phone curse, in a relative of mine's voice. So because I believe in getting all the information I can, I'm acting as if I'm going to go along with it. I'm like this. What? The ritual goes like, well, I don't know how it goes because, of course, I fouled it up so bad that it couldn't be. So anyhow, they're like, yeah, you know, trying to talk this whole thing up like this guy in this next life, because like I told you, this is still the beginning and they're still trying to make it seem like this is such a sweet freaking deal. And even though I'm opting out, they're steady trying to move forward with other things. So they're telling me all types of stuff about this relative and these problems. And then they're like, well, on this phone, you get, let me see something. We'll use a news station. A different one. There we go. We'll use a news station. Okay. So what you do is once you get this contact, you see that red light too. Like it's not visible in plain sight, but it's visible like this. That's the type of stuff I'm. So anyhow, you put your finger on this contact and they start saying, she picked up the phone, but she didn't dial. This is what they start saying over and over again. And you have to hold this down, hold the contact down however long while they complete their thing. But of course, like I said, I kept messing it up. I just wanted to see what all they were going to say for my information, for your information. This is the type of stuff that's going on. So anyhow, I don't know. That's all I know about the phone ritual, and that's not it. It's not complete because I wouldn't complete it. But that's the intro. So if somebody try to get you to do some mess like that, don't. Right after that, they played an audio version of that same relative talking about how they wanted their $80,000. For my death. They wanted their $80,000. They didn't care how everything else happened. They wanted their $80,000 for my death. This is insurance money that this relative is talking about, supposedly. And then they're telling me that he sold his soul. So I said, well, what did he sell it for? For $80,000 and a car. They gave me a make. But I don't think it's necessary to know. And I was in absolute and complete disbelief. I said they don't want much out of life. Now, this is another framing matter. This is another framing matter. Some of what they said about this relative was true. But what they're trying to pin on this relative is excessive. It's framing. It's framing at its worst. And I'm not going to allow that to happen. So we'll go ahead and move along. That night, because it's almost dark now. It's getting dark. That night, as I'm driving back home, because me and Raul ended up missing one another. And while I'm dealing with these folks trying to get rid of them, oh, important detail, it's a doctor. At the time, they didn't tell me that he was a neuroscientist. And this is something that's important to note as well. Always remember everything that people tell you in the beginning. Always remember everything that people tell you in the beginning. That's what's helped me the most with this situation. Recalling, being able to recall the things that were said in the beginning and make those connections has been what's helped me the most, and like tremendously. It helps you separate the lies, helps you discern the plot twist. It helps a lot. So back to this drive home. I put in the address because right now I really don't know where I'm at. Plug the address in, and my phone's, like I said, it's been hacked. The phone has been hacked. So now they're messing with my maps. They were already doing all types of stuff with my phone, all types of stuff no one should be able to do. I got into that in some of the other videos. So I'm not really going to get into what they do with your phone in this video. But this map situation, they were able to spin me in so many ways. When I say that they were able to take me 15, 20 minutes out my way continuously, that's the type of stuff that they were doing with my map. And I'm already exhausted. I'm already tired. So that's one thing with maps. Another thing, because I'm using maps, I'm using a GPS, the GPS does not dictate street signs. It does not dictate street signs. It has nothing to do with street signs. These people were able to manipulate reality. So when I say you'd be driving by, you see, we'll say Arch Street right here. You're passing Arch Street and you're trying to get to Pimento. All right, Pimento's up there and around the corner. You get up there and around the corner and you see Arch Street again, manipulating reality. I'm talking about directions you can't mess up. They turn a 3-minute ride into 20 minutes. There's times where I've been 3 minutes away from my destination and they just spin me so much that it ends up being another 20 minutes. So anyhow, I get home that night. And I go to sleep. And I wake up to them reciting my vitals. I wake up to these people, not these people, to Keisha and that guy, the unknown male, because I don't have a name for him. I wake up to them reciting my vitals. Disturbing enough, but what are you gonna do? And if I told someone this, they wouldn't believe it anyhow. So I just got up and wrote it down. I might have even put like a little memo in my phone first and then put it on paper later. Anyhow, that next day they started back with the attempts to make me have a self-induced heart attack again. They were back at it. I ended up going back to the hospital, and I'm explaining to them what took place. Now, this time, now that I know about this doctor whose wife I'm supposed to be in his next life, which is really just the guy that chipped me. They're trying to tell me which house, now they want to influence which hospital I go to, because they want to make sure he's able to get to the hospital. To do his part. Now, it got to a point where I won't just go to normal hospitals. Like if it's a hospital where a doctor can just, if you wear a white coat and you're a doctor and you can walk in and come and claim somebody's your patient, I can't be there. Because this man is trying to kill me. So I started going to VA hospitals because it's just a little bit more security. These folks are more likely to know these doctors, you know, like they're all regulars. Everyone's regular and everybody probably knows just about everybody. Unlike these bigger hospitals where, like I said, you can throw your white coat on and walk in and just walk into anybody's room and act like you're their doctor.